Well, hello there. So here we are. We finished Justice for All. And it sure was a joy for all, including me, because I loved it. I mean, I guess that doesn't say much, since I also loved the first game and other CDs that I played on this channel. It is pretty easy for me to fall in love with the games that I play here on this channel. So, the big question that I would like to answer in this video is, do I love Justice for All more than the first game? To that I answer, yeah, for the most part. A lot of people told me that for this trilogy, the games just get better and better in quality. And the first game was already quite a lovely adventure, and this one was even better in the fanbase's eyes. Because the first game also sets up the Ace Attorney series. It is the very beginning of the series. It takes its first step laying the foundation of the series, and the following games pretty much expand on that already on the already good quality that the first game already showed us. At least Justice for All expanded on it. I'm gonna have to see for myself what Trials and Tribulations has to offer. It really, it really is like the Danganronpa series. And don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything about this. The first game was great. The second game was even better in a lot of things it had to offer. Alter the Spare Girls was a pretty good spin off, and in my eyes, at the very least, Danganronpa V3, the last game of the series, has easily become my favorite. Because of some of the characters, because of mysteries, because of the themes and message that it told, etc. Now, going back to Justice for All, what I liked the most was the last case, as it's probably the same for everyone else. It's just, it was great. Not only was it personal, trying to save Maya from getting killed, not only was it a race against time, which I don't think I have ever went through a case like this in that regard, where it was so urgent, so extreme that we had to postpone the trial so many times through dirty trickery and sheer fucking luck. Not only all that, but I really liked Shea the Killer. In similar fashion to Manfred and Damon Gaunt, he is an old and very intelligent man that you can totally believe is a professional assassin that does his job to perfection for the most part. And you know what's the most interesting part about this? He is still out there. He hasn't been caught in this case. He still needs to be caught by the police. Which means he will more than likely come back in the future as a reoccurring villain in cases that we have to confront. We always dealt with villains in Ace Attorney that we defeat in one case and that's it. More than likely we'll never come back to fight again. But Shay the Killer is an exception here. He is the one serial killer that I have been looking for a long time. The one serial killer who is an actual professional and is quite hard to pin down, very difficult to defeat, which is a lovely challenge for detectives, and quite a treat for crime mystery enthusiasts like me when it comes to serial killers, because I have seen quite a few serial killers in some of the games that I did and some of the crime mystery games that I played thus far before Ace Attorney. And they were like for the most part okay, but they weren't a constant challenge that the protagonist has to confront throughout an entire season all that. They were just a one and done thing. Or some very weird exceptions for some serial killers where they become our friends. But besides that, I have never really had a serial killer like Share the Killer until now. Also, I feel like I'm forgetting someone in particular when it comes to villains, but I cannot put my finger on it. Hmm. Was it Frank Solid? Nah, it's Matt on guard. And you know, when the big reveal happened before the second day of trial, a lot of people made a huge deal out of it. Like, here it is, one of the biggest reveals in the Ace Attorney series, or oh, like that guy, I just hate him. Stuff like that. Me, however, yeah. he is passable. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is pure evil. He is an asshole. He is the one responsible for everything that happened in the last case. Even tried to blackmail the big assassin himself, Sherry the Killer. Like, he even has this scary face and has such a demonic voice that I gave him. But the reason why I don't really see him as such a big deal in comparison to other villains is because we don't actually confront him in the trial like we did with the other villains in the past. Like, we see him all high and mighty, like confident that he is gonna succeed. But then the next second we see him on the witness stand sweating buckets when the final verdict is about to be declared, and immediately goes into his breakdown, whereas with the other villains like Manfred, Damon Gaunt, Shell the Killer, we had to climb a huge mountain in order to pin them down. They knew their way. They are professionals in their career. And that reflects on how intelligent, how cunning and manipulative they were. Whereas with Medangard, while we know that he did all these bad things, we never really got a chance to actually test how intelligent, how cunning he is under pressure. We never really had the chance to cross examine him and see how he chooses his words and how he counteracts us, how he tries to hide his lies, like all sorts of stuff. I mean, I guess that is the reason why we had Cher the Killer, the one that we had to confront the most in this. There is a reason why there were two villains in this case instead of just one. A villain like Cher the Killer that we had to confront in trial, and Metangard, who was also a villain but had like a different kind of role, if you get what I mean. I mean, in my eyes, I think that the reason why Matt is also pretty popular among the list of villains is not necessarily because of how manipulative he was this whole case and how scummy he was, despite never actually challenging him in a trial. But it is because he represents a huge obstacle for Phoenix Wright's character development, which is something that I really liked in this. The first game, in my eyes, it was all about Edgeworth, and a lot of people do say that as well. It was mostly about Edgeworth and his character in cases 4 and 5. Hell, even 2 and 3. Like, in this game, it was Nick's turn to learn something and have something big happen to him that adds to his character, while having Edgeworth himself help him, who developed in full because of the events of the past case, which I really loved. When I finished the first game, I really wanted to see what the next games would have in store for Edgeworth, to see him grow from what happened with Manfred and Damon Gaunt. And, well, in this game, my wish has been fulfilled. He learned what he had to learn and is now becoming a much better prosecutor because of this. And now it is Nick's turn to become a much better defensive attorney than he already was. To not just believe in his client only, but to actually find the truth, find the real criminal, whether it is his client or somebody else. Like, next time when Nick is gonna have a criminal hidden as his client, he will know better. That is, if Maya doesn't get kidnapped once again in the process. Like, if nothing personal like that happens, then it will be much easier for Nick to deal with something like this. And, I can say the same with Francisca. This game handled Francisca in similar fashion to how the first game handled Edgeworth, in the sense that Francisca followed on his father's footsteps, and because of her revenge, because of wanting to defeat Nick, so that she can have revenge on Edgeworth for leaving her, she did what she did in the first cases we had with her. But in this final one, we see her also help us with saving Maya, and is even willing to help Adrian from now on. In similar fashion to how I wanted to see Edgeworth as a better person, as a better prosecutor at the end of the first game, that is how I want to see Francisca in the next games as well, based on the ending of this particular game. Okay, so we got that. Another thing about this game, which is something that I really, really love, is the world building. In the sense that this game expands on what the first game had in terms of locations and its side characters. We got to see a lot of Heart again, like multiple times. We got to see Will Powers, Old Bag. We get to see how Gatewater Hotel expanded so much from the first game. The whole Steel Samurai theme with all sorts of new characters like Gemming Ninja, Nico Samurai. There was also the Hottie Clinic, which we visited like 2 times in this. It this game shows that it's not always a new place with new characters. It has returning characters and places that gives Japanifornia a sense of being an actual location the characters live in, if you get what I mean. It gives a sense of familiarity and eventually nostalgia even. That in the future, when we go back to some places, it will be all this place that I have been to so many times. I hate this place so much. Or did I get to see people like once again? Like maybe one day we'll get to see Adrian like once again. Except she will be much happier with herself and she doesn't hide herself from people around her anymore now that Matt is gone and that whole ordeal is over now. Or we'll get to see maybe Regina a lot wiser about the world around her instead of always being with her head in the clouds. Or one day we will get to see Lotta Hart finally become successful in her career as a photographer, wherever she will end up being if she keeps up with being a celebrity photographer, or try out new things, that sort of stuff. I'm talking about this because when it comes to Danganronpa or so far Zero Escape, there isn't much of that stuff that I described. I mean, yeah, there is world building to some extent about some past events of some sorts or what is going on with the world at the time the killing game is happening or the nonary game is happening, like that sort of stuff. But for the most part, each game in those cities can be pretty much be considered self-contained, which I didn't mind. But in this series, it is a breath of fresh air, and I think that this will happen in AI, the Somnium Files, as well. Given that in that game we also go to all sorts of new places and meet new characters a lot of the times. And well, okay, I only played like 10 like around 10 parts up until now. And so far I'm really liking it, and I think that if they were to make a sequel for the game, maybe they're gonna go through the same characters or a totally new place with totally different characters. I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to finish the game and see what it's gonna be all about. Maybe they're maybe after that they're gonna make a sequel with the characters that we had in the first game, or it's gonna be new characters. I don't know. It's way too early for me to say stuff like that, to talk about AI the summon files in that regard. But yeah, that's something that I really really liked about the Ace Attorney so far when it comes to that. And you do have to thank. I have been told that the reason why they used characters once again, like a lot of art and Will Powers, instead of using new characters and such. It is because of memory restraints, because of the GBA size and all that. And yeah, you do have to thank the GBA size problems at the release, because if they didn't have those kinds of problems, then we probably would have had like new characters like all the damn time without actually meeting the old characters like once again and be happy about their development, about the development of the side characters and all that. I don't know. It's it's pretty interesting that one of the things I like about the Ace Attorney city so far, that it showed that it also had like world building, is because of such such technical problems that existed in the first place, and not because of something that the writer decided to do. It's pretty interesting. What else? Yeah. Before I forget, let me actually talk about this. I have been told a lot of times before how the Ace Attorney series has this thing going on where the third case in each game turns out to be the weakest. In the first game, the one with the Steel Samurai one, it was the least favorite for people, whereas in this, it was Turnabout Big Top. In the first game, the Steel Samurai one was the least favorite, I guess, because the rest of the cases in that game felt much more important plot wise. They were a lot more exciting in that regard, and yeah, I do have to agree with that. Uh, like the Steel Samurai felt quite filler, while it also had some of its moments, like with Edgeworth and how he did his job in that case in comparison to the last case in case 2. It had some stuff going on with Edgeworth that was important to his character development in that case. But besides that, it felt pretty like filler of some sorts, which I'm perfectly fine with that. Like some people are gonna have problems with that. In my eyes, as long as like one case in one game that can be pretty much filler is pretty much okay in that regard. You can have cases where it doesn't have to connect to everything that is happening in the game and all that. You can have like a case like a self-contained case where you basically meet new characters and it just offers you like an interesting mystery of some sort. Like, for example, the first game it had the TV show thing with the Steel Samurai, and this particular case, it had the circus theme, which is a pretty interesting theme nonetheless, despite how it was executed, because its execution, it kind of depends. Like, it was like the reason why the third case in Justice for All was the weakest. Not only was it less important than the other cases, but it also because of the plot holes in the mystery and the characters that some people dislike, like Mode Clown or Triloquist and Max. It's eh. I mean, there is the plot hole that I said. The whole thing with the cape attaching itself to the statue and all of that. That was a little bit weird, but you know what other cities has this similar problem where in the eyes of its fan base, the third chapter of the game is the weakest? Danganronpa. In each game, the third chapters always seem to be taking a hit the most because of the characters involved. Whether we're talking about character development being cut shortly or other stuff like how the culprits, the killers, were treated. Hell, even the third chapter in Alta Despair goes, the spin off, seems to be the most controversial in the eyes of the fan base. The first chapter in the first game was weak. The third chapter in the second game was weak, which I do have to agree like 100%. The third chapter in the second game is the one that I dislike the most. It is one of my least favorite cases in all the Danganronpa games because of what they did to each of the characters involved in that chapter. Like every single character involved in that chapter. Now, for the third game, Danganronpa V3, the third chapter is actually one of my favorites. Because while it still has some bullshit problems with some of the characters involved, I liked the way they handled it a lot more. Like, hell, one of my favorite characters of all time had a good character development in it because of it. Some of the characters involved helped in that regard, and even the killer in that chapter I like now. Which I do have to thank Ace Attorney for that, but I'm not gonna talk about it here because it's spoilers. I mean, for those of you who are curious about it, you can ask me in the comment section, and maybe like more than likely I'm gonna talk about it one day in my Let's Talk Danganronpa series in the future. But yeah, it is because of Ace Attorney that some of my views have changed when it comes to the culprit of that chapter. Either way, it is funny how Ace Attorney and Danganronpa are similar in that aspect for some unknown reason. Like, for some reason, wherever I go, like like the third episode, like in games that are episodic and all that, like the third chapter, the third episode is the weakest in the eyes of the fan base. It's just how? How does this happen? I've I don't know. Maybe Kodaka took some lesson from Ace Attorney. I don't know. Like, why would he do that on purpose? Okay. Um, Something else I wanted to talk about is the music in Justice for All, which sadly I think that it scores a bit lower in my eyes in comparison to the first game. Like, it is the weakest thing that I can say about this game in comparison to the first one. It doesn't have the same punch in my eyes for like half of it. Like for example, the objection theme for this is not as good as in the first game. The corner theme is good, but not as impactful as the one in the first game. And he even got replaced by the theme which is called Hotline of Fate in the last case, which, while it is awesome in situations where things happen fast and it's intense, it can be a bit too repetitive after listening it a couple of times, sadly. Like the other songs that are quite epic and gives you this adrenaline, they have quite a few variety to them, whereas Hotline of Fate, you can definitely sense the repetitiousness of that song after a while. Like after let me see. How many seconds is it? Like 10 seconds. Like it repeats after like around 10 seconds. It's just But okay, the cross examination ones are good. The investigation themes are good. The recollection ones are great in this one too. And some stuff like the Great Revival of Edgeworth is just excelente. But for the most part, it's a mixed bag, to be quite honest. I don't know. What else? Yeah, I don't think there is much else to add, to be quite honest. Uh, the Psyclox gameplay is a nice addition that adds more gameplay to the investigation themes, which I guess there is no hiding it. When it comes to investigation, like when it comes to um adventures, let's plays, walkthroughs, playthroughs. When you guys already know, when you guys have already played uh, through the games and you're watching people go through the games, like you watch me go through the games, even if you already played this, the most interesting parts for you to see are the trials. Like in Danganronpa, more than like the most interesting for you guys was the class trials, whereas the investigation parts were the least exciting because you guys already know what is going on. You already know what the evidence is going to be used and on what exactly. And the daily events in Danganronpa, you weren't as excited as the class trials. I certainly was. I really wanted to spend my time like so much with the students and all that, bond with the students and all that. I really liked them. But it is the way it is. You guys like the class trials and trials and Ace Attorney a lot more, so you want to see more of that. You want to see my reactions to that sort of stuff. You want to see me dance like a monkey and such. So it is the way it is. But going back to this, it is nice that they added some gameplay to the Psychlock. They added the Psychlock's gameplay to the investigations part, and this to make them more thrilling to watch for those who are watching the cities and all that. But the trials are still the ones that you want to watch the most. That's for sure. Maya is Maya, getting into danger like twice in this game, in similar fashion to the last game in the second case, and getting hit by Manfred's stun gun in the fourth case. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. At least I hope I didn't miss anything. But those are the major things that I want to talk about. now we shall go into the next segment of this video. Like this video is going to be split into three segments. And the first one was me saying my thoughts about this game. The next segment being me showing some stuff from the last case, like the bad ending and the not guilty option for Met on Guard. And the third segment is going to be me finishing some business. And what I mean by that is, well, you'll see soon enough. But yep, that will be it for my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I'll see in Charles, but Trials and Tribulations. And I have such a great joke when it comes to that name of the game, but I cannot do it yet. No, Mr. Wright. Let's not waste any more time. Alright, I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. We got this. We got this, Phoenix. Who would you like to show evidence to? Alright. First things first, we're gonna show this evidence to Share the Killer. I see. And now, tell this court what one piece of evidence you would like to show this person. The piece of evidence that we're gonna show to Share the Killer. It is the videotape! Alright, well, we got this. Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't have anything to say to this. How about you, Miss Von Carlo?
Well, I was just shot, so...
I'm afraid I cannot allow the defense to continue. Wait, what? Why? What? No one understands what you are talking about anymore. But, yeah, wait, please, one more... That is enough, Miss Wright. I'll now state my verdict. But before that, Noby.
Yes, sir?
This court finds the defendant, met on guard. That is all. This court is adjourned. And just like that, the case came to an end. I ran away from the courtroom and wandered the streets alone. I never saw Maya again. The killer is a man of his word, so I'm sure he reached her as promised. I heard the verdict of Miss Andrews' final trial a few days later. She was found guilty, of course. The miracle never happened. Maybe it was never meant to. Because a miracle is something that doesn't exist.
Whether he is convicted or acquitted, there is no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells you.
Right, Chief. Alright, well, you're gonna get what you wanted, Metangard. I hope that you're happy about this. Congratulations, Mr. Metangard. Please make sure to savor every moment of what little time you have left. Your Honor, as always, the defense pleads not guilty. Very well. This court finds the defendant, met on guard. Hold it! Please wait. What's the matter? If I get it not guilty, I'll be killed. I'm... Well,
The case is finished now. I think it's high time we conclude the challenge now.
Can't it wait? I feel all drained after all that.
What, are we just gonna sit on the floor like this for weeks while I get to hear you complain about how harsh life is?
Look, I'm the one editing all this, alright? Meanwhile, you're the one sitting in the back whispering negative thoughts to my ears and drinking orange juice without a care in the world.
Just get up already, darn it.
Alright. Well, I guess...
I'm gonna save you some time by starting this myself. Yes, you have won. Even though Shell the killer is still out there, the one responsible for all this, met on guard, has been declared guilty. Maya is saved. You didn't get a game over. And, well, color me impressed. You were pretty darn lucky. And now you're gonna tell me that since you won, that I should pack myself and leave you forever? How naive can you be? Well, you really thought that I was going to keep my promise and actually leave if you won the challenge? No. Let's be real here. I would never accept such a thing. Just who do you think I am? Oh, also, don't think that you are going to trick me either. That you knew that I was going to break the promise. So you made a backup plan. Yeah, don't you think I didn't notice you make that phone call last time, while I was distracted with my thoughts of pure joy over Maya's death? You made a backup plan of separating me from your body, or making me disappear for some trickery, a magic spell, whatever it is, in case I would break my promise. Well, let's just say that it won't work, cause anything you do to me will be futile. I will always be with you. I will always come back, no matter what you do to me. We are one, Noby. I am the voice in the back of your mind, feeding your negative thoughts. I am the dark side that exists within you. There is no such thing as getting rid of me. You tried before. What makes you think you will be successful this time?
You're right. And I'm glad that you'll be staying, Nefarious.
What?
You're right. I have tried to get rid of you in the past, but to no avail. You did help me at times, like during the V3 killing game, so while even to this day I still cannot understand some of your motivations, one thing I have learned is that you are part of me. Every human in this world has the potential to create chaos. They have that dark side inside of them. But it is through people's sheer willpower, determination, and kindness that they are capable of keeping that dark side dormant. So, that is exactly what I want to do. While I cannot get rid of you, I can definitely keep you at bay. Because I am better than you.
What a load of bullcocky. What a load of asswipe. If you truly believe that, then what the hell was the point of your challenge? Eh?
Oh, the challenge was made entirely just to trick you, Nefarious. For example, it made you think that you would be able to trick me by saying that you will break your promise. When in actuality, I didn't even give a fuck if you broke your promise, nor did I create any backup plan to make you disappear or something. It was to show you that I tricked you, that I am your master, that you cannot fool me.
What?
Oh, and you're gonna love this. Remember when I said that if I lose, then I would leave Japanofornia and never come back? I lied. Even if I lost, even if Maya died, I still would have continued solving cases in Japanofornia. Just who do you think I am? Not to mention that he can spot when I was being insincere about it. Let's go back to that point when I made that promise, shall we? I will leave Japanofornia, never come back, and instead move on to different adventures.
You're serious? You really are gonna do that?
I promise.
Is that...
Yep, I crossed my fingers behind my back when I said that. Meaning, I will break my promise anyway. It wasn't my phone that you should have focused on, but my hands. I have the hands of a mage, after all.
You impress me, Noby. You truly reached a whole new level with this. And I couldn't be happier. I admit, you have won. Congratulations. Tu no felicitación. Felicidades. Omedetou gozaimasu.
Okay, well, since you acknowledge it, then I guess.
I'm not finished yet. You, Noby, are a much tougher cookie to crack now. However, here's something I would like to mention. Now, what was it that Phoenix Wright uses to catch his criminals? Ah, yes, to think outside the box. To do things from a different angle. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. Skadoosh!
Nefarious?
Over here.
Huh.
And now, we shall go to the next level. Let's see how you're going to keep me at bay this time. Till we meet again, Noby.
I've done my part. The chicken is out of the coop. Way earlier than I expected, actually. Have you finished the preparations like I told you?
Yes.
Alright. Keep an eye on him for now.
On it.
I feel grand today.